I just got one thing to say. God bless Belgium.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Welcome into Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. This is your host, Noah Obsfeld. Jeez. And as always with me is Michael Smith, Jared Williams, and Kieran Day. This is week 3. We got a crazy episode for you today. You're probably wondering why I have my newfound country that I am sworn my loyalty to behind me. And it is because we have a new national champion for the most subscribers for Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football coming in at 46% of our subscribers is none other than the number one country in the world, Belgium.
Wow.
US is slipping at 43.5%. So we gotta pay homage to the motherland. And I'm as confused as you guys. I didn't know that Belgium was so into American football, but this might be some weird glitch. But you know what? Things happen.
We'll
right?
take it.
We'll take it. And secondly, okay, this is all to all our Belgian followers, guys. If you could follow us on Twitter at Dudes Football or find us on YouTube, Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football, please contact us. We would love to have a Belgian person on the show to explain why it is now the number one subscribed country to Guys Being Dudes. Sorry, I didn't really center it that well. It's going to have to do for today. Maybe I can just do – oh, wait, wrong way.
Just move the camera.
There you go. Money.
See, that's a producer right there. Adapt, keep the Belgians happy. Anyways, Let me get my headphones and we'll get started. Guys, how you feeling after last week?
I'm okay. I had a lot of fun watching the games. Personally, I did not have any top picks in any of my drafts. So the injury bug did not bite me as hard as it may have bit you guys. Obviously, 2 of the top 3 picks in most drafts, pretty much the top 2 picks in most drafts, both down for the time being. Saquon Barkley, obviously out for the year. CMC out 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Huge news in fantasy football. How you guys feeling about it? Ooh, Noah is muted.
Sorry
yeah,
about that. Thank you.
Jumping in, I'm in the same boat as you, Jared, as I didn't have any top picks, but I'm also more unlucky than you, and I'm still dealing with the injury bug. So not only did I not get the top players, I got the back of the first-round players, and they're still dealing with the injury bug. So
it is widespread
right now.
It is widespread.
It is out of control. I just hope players figure it out. And, without the preseason, there's so many causes for this. I just hope NFL gets it figured out. Everybody stays healthy. Something's got to happen, yeah.
So
Be
we're
safe
going to
out there,
talk
anyway.
about ways you can adjust, and we're going to talk about all these injuries in depth. But let's just start out with CMC. So I in the league I won last year with a bunch of randos on the internet, I got some nice cash from that. I traded my 5th overall and a few picks for the first overall and a few picks from them. Drafted CMC, of course, and I got offered Jonathan Taylor for CMC. Thought about it. Don't think it's that crazy. I mean, CMC is just being valued all over the place. I've seen CMC for Zeke. I've seen CMC for guys like Aaron Jones.
Chris Carson.
So, Chris Carson. I offered CMC and Michael Gallup for Jonathan Taylor and DJ Chark, and he took it immediately. I'm 0-2 in that league. What's your thoughts on that trade? Did I get good enough value for him?
I got to start out. That is incredible value because even though
for me,
for you, the Jonathan Taylor owner, the amount of touches Jonathan Taylor got last week, you have to love it. He looks like a top 10 pick. And if you can trade a guy that's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks for a top 10 pick, especially when you're 0-2, you're winning. And if you can give up Gallup in the meantime with his lack of production to start.
Yeah. I really like the upside of DJ Chark. Obviously, he was out this week, but I think going forward, he should be a better play. Moving on to Saquon, the second pick. I mean, before we start, me and Michael were talking about this earlier. I still don't – I get the talent. He's easily a top 3 back in the NFL. But we saw, what it's like on a mediocre offense last year. I don't understand why everyone thought everything was going to change and he was going to be back at that number 1, number 2. He did it his rookie year, but I don't think he was the second.
Yeah, I think that's why. I mean, he did it his rookie year. He looked electric. He always has had the talent, and it's visible talent. It's one of those players when you're watching, he is making spectacular plays he's jumped over 3 guys in that game before he tore his ACL. I mean, it's just fun to watch and amazing to see his talent. So when you're looking at him versus Zeke, there's just that kind of awe factor that a lot of people, consider, I think. And I could see why the upside is there, but looking back on it now, hindsight is 2020. So Zeke is sitting pretty now.
Definitely. Yeah, I picked second in a draft, and I never really wavered off of picking Zeke. I just felt like he's too steady, never really been hurt. The only time he's been out was when he's gotten into trouble and been suspended. So, I think Zeke was just too steady for me at 2. Now, I think the bigger question I have is next year, where do people take Saquon?
First round.
Yeah.
And
I think it's going to be –
where would you feel comfortable taking him?
Depends on the injury, how his rehab goes. If he's cleared, a lot of people react differently to the ACL tear. People are back in 9 months. People are, like Jerick McKinnon never, have complications throughout the rehab process. And then, it's too early to say in my case.
I think he's going to be like a Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb-esque kind of guy that third tier of that RB1. Just because he's been injured. That's just his legacy right now. Where you think that's about where you guys would take him?
I mean, one thing to say, how excited are you guys for when he's done with the rehab? He's going to put out some ridiculous workout videos to get people amped up. Those thighs are going to be busting out, and he's going to look ripped, and we're going to be taking him in the top 4 again just because of those videos.
Really all this –
I feel like he's going to go like 5 or 6 next year.
That's probably accurate. Let's get on to some crazy news. So right before you probably heard about this, but right before the Chargers game, apparently 10 seconds before kickoff, Justin Herbert gets the news that he is going to be the starter, and we can get into how he played. He played well, and the team doctor for the Chargers punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung while trying to give him a pain injection for his broken ribs. And I still think we hear about these terrible injuries all the time, tear an ACL, this concussion, but a punctured lung, unheard of in football, such an abstract. So here's my favorite, fantasy fun facts of the week here's the Chargers doctor's track record before this mishap. So here's the tweet. The Chargers doctor before this one was also a huge problem. 2 DUIs, rated by DEA for writing himself 108 prescriptions, malpractice for severing a patient's artery, malpractice lawsuits for multiple career-ending misdiagnoses, and loses surgery license in 2013, yet he is probably being paid $400K to be the Chargers team doctor.
Why is he still employed?
Why is Adam Gase still employed? There's a lot of questions that we just don't know the answer to in the NFL. So that being said, Justin Herbert comes in, puts up quite a show against the defending champion, and I think this has huge implications for all the Chargers skill players this year. Let's start in the backfield. Kieran, your boy Joshua Kelly, apparently such a nice guy. Kieran loves to say it on the show. What do you think about this backfield going forward?
I mean, they've just migrated right back to that same kind of fold they had before of Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler. I mean, the talent might be different, but he had 26 touches, I think, this last week. I mean, he's getting used. He's getting high-value touches in the 10 zone. He's even being used a little through the passing game, and I think there's value there to be had. I think both are startable. If you were the team that has Eckler and took a shot on Kelly at the back of the draft, you could play both in a pinch. So I think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, I saw a stat where Melvin Gordon didn't get 20+ rushes like Kelly did this past week since some point in 2017. So he's completely taken over that role. The production, he hasn't been the most efficient. He's not the best runner compared to Austin Eckler, who is, in the time he gets the ball, he absolutely lights it up. You can tell just by watching the game how much better he is, but he's not getting those red zone goal line carries like Joshua Kelly is. But this week, they're playing the Panthers. The Panthers' run defense is probably the worst or second worst in the league. They're both going to be great plays this week. I think Joshua Kelly is a running back 2 this week.
And it seemed like with Herbert, he was more willing to throw to Eckler, and maybe some of that was schematics of the game and the fact that you had a rookie quarterback. But I think Herbert's going to get more comfortable throwing to Eckler. I mean, he quadrupled his targets and receptions. So I think Eckler's value is only improves with Justin Herbert versus Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah,
So
I think it kind of goes back to near where you drafted him. Here's the fun one. I have Eckler in one league. I dropped Justin Jackson after week 1, picked up Joshua Kelly. And guess who I have in my flex right now? It's Joshua Kelly. I'm starting both backs. I don't think that's crazy at all. You to secure that backfield. I mean, it's all about your alternatives. My alternatives are Michael Gallup or Brandon Cooks against Pittsburgh. I think it's a clear option. So if you're smart and you have that handcuff, go ahead and start both. Another big injury, Cortland Sutton, kind of a surprise here. Apparently tore his ACL. The quote was that his knee was torn up. Out for the year. Drew Lock going to be out for a few weeks. So we have Jerry Jeudy, people are saying he's already the best receiver in the NFL. This kid's amazing. I mean, where does he go in your receiver ranks? And how about Noah Fant as well?
I mean, he's questionable this week, still dealing with that rib injury. I don't think the ceiling is as high, even though Jeff Driscoll loves to throw the receiver. He loves to throw to the tight end, and he doesn't throw to the running back as much. But I feel like with KJ Hamler coming back, he looked great last week, the rookie in his first game, and the amount of volume Noah Fant's going to get, I don't feel like they're going to be giving Jeudy that same kind of volume that Cortland Sutton would get, especially being a rookie. So obviously you got to give him a bump, but I feel like we got to let it see what happens first.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jerry Jeudy is honestly still a buy low. I mean, people talk about how he was more NFL ready than most high-end wide receiver prospects. He's, I think, the second in rookie receiving right now in terms of yards, and he's not even on one of those high-powered offenses. I mean, Jeff Driscoll coming in, not as bad as people think. He had an all right week after Drew Lock left, but those guys I think are both. I mean, Jeudy viable flex play, and I think Fant's I think he's the guy. I think he's going to outplay. Every other one of those sleeper tight ends, I think he's the one that's going to break out. Fun little side thing. We have a league here called Sex at 10, and which is, of course, Texas 10 backwards. And the trophy just came in.
Is it?
And
Texas
I wanted
10?
this trophy. Don't worry about it. I wanted this trophy to resemble something greater. I wanted this trophy to resemble what it takes to win fantasy. It's up here, but it's also those players. It's in here. So who better than Christian McCaffrey, Stanford bobblehead?
Unfortunate timing.
Unfortunate timing. It's probably my fault. Most things are. There you go. So for the Sex at 10 League, that's your trophy, Brains and Bronze trophy there. And if you're just tuning in with us now, you have 7 people on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? You're probably wondering, Noah, what is this Belgian flag behind you? My first tip is to tune in when we start at 6 p.m. on Facebook. And the reason it is because Belgium is now our number 1 most subscribed country for guys being dudes. Again, if you're listening in from Belgium, please get in contact with us. Follow us on Twitter at DudesFootball. Twitter, I don't know if you guys use it there. It's this fun social media with this blue bird. You just tweet little things and, it's just a bunch of banter. Don't take it too seriously, though. That's where people make a mistake. All right, let's move on to more football. Let's talk about Thursday Night Football. I mean, the battle of the facial hair.
Let's give this to Mike.
Mind if I just step out? No, I might just step out.
Hey, man, I know this job gets tough. Oh,
He's got the Minshew shirt on.
The Wazoo.
He's still my guy. Got to stick to my guy.
Oh, geez. Yeah, what did you think of Minshew last night?
I mean, he certainly gets a lot of the blame, but I think not having a starting center and having DJ Chark out, I think was critical. And no one else was playing well. And Chris Conley drops 2 third down plays that would have been first downs. You punt, the defense can't stop. So before you know it, we're down and having to play catch up, and that's not really how we want to play. So, I mean, Minshew gets a lot of the blame. He did not play very well, but he doesn't get all of the blame.
Yeah, I think that what was interesting is everyone was so excited to start Keelan Cole and Laviska Shenault Jr., but without DJ Chark to kind of play that Julio Jones, cover him role, those guys can't really, serve that wide receiver 1-2 role. When DJ Chark is back, between Shoutout and Keelan Cole, who I think are both viable streaming options, flex plays in deeper league, who do you guys like?
I will start. I think Laviska Shenault is an incredible player. He definitely looked like the best receiver playing last night, except for the Dolphins, of course. Keelan Cole is terrible at football. Chris Conley is terrible at football. He should not be a captain on this team.
Jeez.
You should only want Shenault and DJ Chark on that offense, of course, besides James Robinson.
I do not think Keelan Cole is terrible at football. If you watched a couple of the catches he made some amazing toe tap catches. He's not great. I don't think he's terrible.
I don't think he's a good fantasy player.
I think it's clear it's Shenault over Keelan Cole. I think Keelan Cole will have some pop-off weeks, but Shenault, they're only going to work him in more and more. I was disappointed with how little they scripted for him last night in terms of rushing and catching the ball. So I think it has to be Shenault going
Well,
forward.
I mean, why would they do anything else but give it to James Robinson? And moving on to the only bright spot of the Jacksonville team, James Robinson, undrafted rookie, out here, the secretive, he's going to be the top of the depth chart preseason. You could have taken him. You could have taken, any of the other 5, weird names in the backfield there. But damn, that guy's an RB1. Is this true? Is this guy an RB1? I mean, he's like probably the RB8 right now. Kieran, you're shaking your head.
I don't think – I mean, I have him, and I started him, and I'm happy. I don't think he's an RB1 just because there are so many top-end running backs that are really, really good and have been off to rough starts. I mean, you need to be on a good offense that's going to move the ball and score touchdowns. He scored 2 touchdowns last night. Is that going to be something that's sustainable for the Jags all year long? Who knows what happens when a couple other guys come back off IR? There's a lot of factors here. But I do want to say one thing for you listeners out there who want to trust our advice. I sent a text message into our Guys Being Dudes fantasy football group chat about which running backs I should start this week. I had a hodgepodge of shitty RB2s, didn't know what to do. All 3 of these guys, James Robinson, hammer it. We're looking out for each other. We're looking out for you. So that's just a little my story. Trust us. We'll get you to where you need to go.
There you go.
I think James Robinson is in that 12 to 20 running back range.
Same.
And I think given the fact that there's been so many injuries, I don't think you can't start him. Like if you have him, more than likely you don't have 2 guys better than him at the running back position. So I think he's a must start, but he's not an upper end.
I mean, right now, who do you want? James Robinson or David Montgomery?
James Robinson. Definitely.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
close.
That's
James
really close for me.
Robinson, James Robinson or David Johnson?
David Johnson.
I'm going
James
Robinson.
See,
The volume is incredible. That's what the game is. I think we should move forward. Bottom line, James Robinson is good at football. If you're just joining us, follow us on Twitter at DudesFootball. Let's get to the Dolphins side of the ball. I mean, the biggest thing for me is Myles Gaskins, just like solid play every week. We see that 9-10 carries and you're turned off as for RB1, but his passing volume is just too good. I don't think Fitzmagic is truly back. I don't think he was as good as the score suggested. But the first half he was playing great. I mean, is Devontae Parker back to where you drafted him?
I don't know. Preston Williams is definitely disappointed a lot, and that's kind of it leads for Devontae Parker to be the lead receiver there. Mike Gesicki, we saw him go off last week, and then this week he has 1 catch. This is mainly a team that I don't like that much, and I'd want to be staying away as much as possible. I don't know. Do you guys feel like that at all?
Yeah, I mean, if you have them, you're obviously starting them. Gesicki, I think, is a matchup-based good start, but I think, you said it spot on. Let's get into the Week 2 preview. This week we got Week 3 preview. We got Eagles versus Bengals. We saw last week, finally, Miles Sanders, my dud of the year, finally getting that volume that we were all promised. And, dude, the Eagles just can't catch a break. I mean, if you take a look underneath the curtain up there, I don't know, it's too much work. Anyways, if you're on the podcast, you gotta turn into the YouTube to see that one. But the injuries are absurd. We got Jalen Reagor, torn thumb ligament. He's going to be out 6 to 8. We got Alshon Jeffrey maybe coming back. We got Deshaun Jackson, who is I always say Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, he's not even mustard. He's more maybe like mayonnaise. He's just kind of like the air yards are there, but I don't know. I mean, what are you doing with this passing core for the Eagles?
Definitely staying away from the receivers, and you're obviously loving the tight end still. I mean,
are you?
This has got to be a Zach Ertz week. It has to be a Zach Ertz week. If Zach Ertz
Is
doesn't
it
come
Goddard
through,
being a Zach Ertz week?
it's got to be. No, but Zach has to come through this week. Zach, if you're listening, you need to come through this week. People drafted you high. Everybody is out. Come on.
Well, I mean, unless Zach Ertz is in Belgium, I doubt he's going to hear that. Let's go to the other side of the ball. Bengals, I mean, we had them against the Thursday Night Football, seems like forever ago. Burrow looked great. Mixon is Mixon going to have the bounce back that we saw at the end of last season? Michael?
I don't know if it's this week. The Eagles usually have a good run defense, and they may be playing a little bit from behind, although the Eagles do have a lot of injuries. I think the mix and bounce back will happen. I'm not sure it's this week. I want to see more before
I'm holding.
On Joe Mixon.
I'm holding.
I'm definitely holding. I'm not selling.
Joshua Kelly or Joe Mixon this week?
Mixon.
I'm going Mixon. I have to.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Mixon. He's an RB2 for me going forward for now.
Yeah. How about let's move on to the Giants and Niners. Kieran, what you got?
Giants and Niners. The Niners are also one of those teams that can't catch a break. I mean, there's a couple teams that are in that same, but Kittle out, Garoppolo out, Mostert and Coleman out. I mean, I think if you're going to start anybody, and with the backup quarterback, we don't even know what we're going to get from Nick Mullins. It's going to be really tough.
I saw a little of him last year.
Jeff Wilson Jr., maybe Raheem Mostert. I think you could start. Or not Raheem Mostert, sorry. Jared McKinnon, I think you could play with a decent amount of confidence. But I don't know. It's not looking too good. They played the Jets. You can't take too much away from what was going on in the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Giants.
It's against the Giants.
The Giants isn't much better. Shepard out. Is there anybody on the Giants you're willing to play of Slayton, Ingram, or any of the running backs? Freeman just got signed. It's kind of a mess.
Well, let's start with the running back group. I mean, this is chaotic. Freeman got signed. You got Deion Lewis. You got the guy who got the work last year, Wayne Gallman. I mean, if you had to pick one rest of season, who you guys going with?
Well, you got to go with Devonta Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
And for the sole reason of he's the only guy that can take over this backfield and actually give you solid fantasy production moving forward. Because it's going to be an RBBC, if Devonta can take over, he could give you RB3 value. I mean, you look at what Saquon was putting up, and Saquon in the first game and in the second game before he got hurt, he really wasn't doing too much. Deion Lewis had an okay game, but, now the backfield has more people in it. So the only person I could see fully taking over would be Devonta.
So here, I'm going to just tell you guys what's going to happen. All right, I can see the future sometimes. It's a gift. We don't have to get into it. This week, Deion Lewis and Wayne Gallman are going to get the bulk. Devonta Freeman just got to New York. He's going to get, he's going to get some ISO. He's going to get a little bit of work, maybe in the passing game. And then you're going to go trade for Devonta Freeman. And then come week 2, New York got a 1-year deal. Devonta Freeman needs to show up if he's going to be signed next year. This guy's going to give it all he's got. And I like Freeman for the long term. This week, if you're trying to get a spot start in there, Deion Lewis, PPR, Wayne Gallman, if you're going standard. Yeah, I mean, if you got that's the future. If you guys have anything to add,
I agree completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate about the Niners, I predicted not going to make the playoffs this year. Looks like I kind of just shunned the 49ers. I shun you. That's a new
What kind of luck is that happened?
Anyways, I
I
told you I could tell the future. It's not something. It's very difficult for me sometimes.
All right, now,
but
I want to talk
fame
about
and the fortune. Yeah, what you got?
I want to talk about something. There's a little something that happened on Monday night in Las Vegas, Nevada.
A little something.
Just a little something. A little something. Little 16 targets, 12 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown from D-Wall.
Wow.
D-Wall is, and I'll say it here, the second best tight end.
Boo!
Talent-wise.
Yeah, who's better than-
I think George Kittle is a more talented football player.
Oh,
He is better than
Interesting.
Travis Kelce.
Interesting.
I
Wow,
thought
I
the
don't know
big
about
news
that
was
one.
gonna. I thought the big news was gonna be the Raiders might be the best team in football. I mean, taking down the Saints, they're looking good.
They're looking very good. I mean, the Oakland Wallers looked really good last week. I mean, they're just,
And Josh Jacobs.
It's crazy. Well, Josh Jacobs is just, a staple of the franchise. But I mean, going forward, Waller, I mean, I honestly think it might be a good idea to go trade for Waller right now because that field with all these offensive picks just opened up. I mean, would you guys go trade? I don't know if the Ertz owner would, or I don't know if the Waller owner would take Ertz. I mean, who's another tight end in that tier besides?
I don't think the Waller owner is
Does
going to
anybody?
be budging unless it's an elite running back or something. I don't think the Waller owner is going to be budging at all.
I mean, if you have a running back depth and that Waller owner is struggling at running back or receiver, I think that's sustainable. I don't think the volume is sustainable, but I think that top 3 tight end is absolutely sustainable. On the Patriots side of the ball, I mean, kind of the same stuff. Cam balling out. One bright spot that we've been hoping to see come around for a long time, N'Keal Harry. I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, he was heavily involved. 12 targets, 8 catches, and that was while Julian Edelman was putting up a career high in yards. I mean, the offense just looked good, straight up just good. Cam Newton was zipping the ball around. He was looking confident. He wasn't looking to scramble as much as I thought he would. He was sitting back there behind a great offensive line for the first time in a couple of years, and he was just gunning the ball. So, yeah, I think they're both good wide receivers. I think Harry, you got to pick him up if he's on your waiver wire somehow, and you can throw him in your lineup if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this Cam looks completely different than what I was expecting going into the year. If I thought Cam had a good year, it wasn't going to be because his passing game went back to form. I thought it was just going to be because he stayed healthy and he was a great runner. But he looks like a great passer too, and he's targeting Julian Edelman. He's targeting N'Keal Harry, and these two are definitely the two most skilled pass catchers, and it's great that it seems like they have good chemistry with Cam. So, yeah, like Kieran said, I love Edelman and N'Keal Harry.
Great.
Awesome.
But I will say real quick, the running back situation in New England, definitely stay as far away as possible from all running backs. Even when James White does come back, I feel like that's not really the best move for fantasy. He didn't really do much week 1. He had 8 PPR points. I really don't like that backfield at all.
I kind of like James White as a trade target, and here's why. I mean, this systems is not going to be sustainable because they're going to keep playing good teams. I mean, Cam Newton is passing, but when they want to keep the game tight, I mean, that's what the Patriots do. They get ahead, they're going to keep the game tight, and they just get those 6-yard scampers to James White. I mean, don't give up too much. Maybe you could even give up someone like MVS or someone a low-end wide receiver 3 or 4, I think, for James White right now. I think that's good value. Moving on to the Bears and Falcons.
The backfield I do want to talk about is David Montgomery has been a better receiving back than Tariq Cohen. Where is Tariq Cohen gone? David Montgomery has 3 targets each of the first.
He's gone to the bank to put in his deposit and kiss my ass, Allen Robinson, because I'm rich and you're not.
And David Montgomery was someone I think people were avoiding because of his injury, and he's looked good. He's run with a purpose, and he's been efficient. I really like him this week, and I like him going forward. I think he is better than what people are valuing him at. And this week, they play the Falcons. Obviously, Julio Jones is questionable. It seems like he won't be playing. They're always coy about him, and he's always just a game time decision, so wait until Sunday. It'll be interesting to see how Calvin Ridley looks when the best defender is on him. So can Calvin Ridley be as effective without Julio Jones? But for the Bears, I think this is the week Allen Robinson breaks out. The Falcons, they can't cover anybody. And Allen Robinson has had the targets. He hasn't had the production. I think.
Whoa, Mike! I gotta hold you real quick.
What's
on, Jared?
On my phone, there's a missing person in Chicago.
Oh my God!
And it says the only person who knows where he is This is Noah.
Oh, no.
Noah, what's up? Can you let us in on?
I don't want to talk about it, okay?
What did I say, boys? What did I say last week?
We all said it. We said Noah said Anthony Miller catches a touchdown last week, and Allen Robinson sort of requests a trade, changes his social media. But what actually changes in Chicago with Anthony Miller?
All I know is Noah said, and I quote, "Let's see when whatever his name is."
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller.
I don't really blame you. A lot of people are forgetting his name.
I already forgot about him. He's like, "Let's see when Anthony Miller catches a touchdown, has a great game. We'll see who's talking." And all I see is you sliding down your screen, not manning up to the fact that this guy may not be.
Not only did Anthony Miller crush his real-life team in week 1, he crushed his fantasy team in week 2. I mean, this guy he's got it out for Noah. I mean, I feel for him.
It's tough. I started him all over the place. I think that, this is going to be maybe the worst passing defense this week. And if Anthony Miller can't get it done this week, against the Falcons, then he's dropski season. You just throw him on the waiver wire. That's gonna be disappointing.
I would already
Mike Evans has goose egg sometimes. It happens.
The difference is Mike Evans plays. Anthony Miller isn't seeing that many snaps. Like, he has not become the number 2 guy.
I don't get it. He's honestly, he's a second round pick. He's a great
player. You'll get your breakout wide receiver next year. You'll get back on track.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 is good. Rams and Bills. We have this backfield of the Rams is just annoying. Darrell Henderson is the guy this week. Who knows? It'll be next week. But I think Malcolm Brown is going to have to take a back seat. They're going to want to keep producing these younger guys. And I think that Darrell Henderson for the next 3 weeks is going to be the guy. Akers, I said in week 1, not a guy I'm investing in. Again, I can tell the future sometimes, obviously. But for the receiving core, Kupp, Woods, you're starting both of them. And the Bills side of the ball, Josh Allen, good. I don't think there's much more to say there.
Yeah, one thing on the Bills real quick. Rookie Zach Moss, the running back, who's been splitting time with Devin Singletary. Mm-hmm. He hasn't looked all that good, if I'm being completely honest. And Devin Singletary's actually looked surprisingly well. So now Devin Singletary is going to get all those backfield snaps this week. I like Devin Singletary a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
he's
that's
a very, very well running back indeed.
Yeah, he's a well running back. Moving on.
Very well.
The next matchup, the Texans versus the Steelers.
Ooh.
DJ is a questionable player this week, if at all. He's going up against a Steelers defense that has shut everybody down. He didn't look great last week. DJ being David Johnson. And I think realistically, the Texans are a team that I'm not really wanting to start anybody, and that includes Deshaun Watson. And that's my personal take, is I would be looking to stream away from Deshaun Watson. He's not looked specifically good. Their offensive line is ranked one of the worst in football right now, and the Steelers have one of the best defensive lines. I read a stat somewhere. They've been pressuring quarterbacks at over 40% of the snaps. It's like they're getting to the quarterback, and the Texans can't stop it.
Facebook question from Chris. Why so much love for the Houston Texans this week? He said they're predicted to win. They're not. It's Steelers by 4. Just wanted to reference that to give the fans a little sum. But yeah, Steelers really should cover that 4-point spread. I think you said it spot on. Going to the other side of the ball, Deontay Johnson, really interesting player this year. Could he be as valuable as Juju going forward?
Oh, I think it's 1A, 1B without a doubt. And you know how I feel about Deontay Johnson. He was my guy going into the year. Do you know how many players have more targets than Deontay Johnson through 2 weeks?
5?
2.
4.
And one's a tight end.
Wow.
And one is DeAndre Hopkins. And I think you know who the tight end is. It's definitely Darren Waller. I think Deontay Johnson, they are feeding him and running their offense through him. And the way they've kind of done it is just giving him the ball at the line of scrimmage and just let him go. He's probably the most exciting guy with the ball in his hands in the league, maybe. And you saw what he could do down the field where he caught the long touchdown. So I think, one of these times he's going to catch the ball and he's going to run for, 60, 70-yard touchdown. I think he's still being undervalued. People are starting to know Deontay Johnson, but I think him and Juju are both solid wide receiver 2s with the ability to pop off any given week.
I think Juju's a little bit more touchdown dependent, and that's why Deontay is the safer play. Just because, what has it been like 13?
Come
and
on,
10
you don't want
targets?
Deontay Johnson
Mhm.
over Juju rest of season.
I
do
am
you?
100%.
resting Robert Woods this week for Deontay Johnson.
I am as well.
Oh,
Rest-
I don't know.
Ooh.
No.
I don't know
Am
about
as
that
well.
one.
Fire Woods up.
What
Fire
is
Woods
the
up.
what is the
Real
Texans
quick.
defense going to do?
Real quick, Juju or Deontay rest of season? I'm Juju.
Juju.
Deontay, and I'll take them for the full season too.
Yeah, we'll smack that on the
Like-
wall there, bud.
I don't know.
This will be Godwin and Evans of last year. Who's going to score more points by the end of the year?
Wow.
So we got a little 2v2 bet going on here. Is that what I'm
Yeah.
hearing?
I don't know.
On
I don't
the
know
wall.
which.
Oh, it's just going to be 3 versus 1 here, huh?
I'll go with Deontay. I think-
All right. There we go. Let's move on.
They are.
Yeah,
world
let's move
against
on to the
Noah.
Titans and Vikings this week. I don't want to say that I predicted this, but I didn't draft A.J. Brown anywhere. And that's not because of the injury concern, even though he was kind of hurt in the offseason. I just didn't like the production there and the amount of times they throw the ball. But he is out this week, and that is why everybody is firing up their Corey Davises, who's now the wide receiver 1 there, and their Jonnu Smiths. Jonnu Smith he looks like Delaney Walker. He's completely taken his role. What do you guys think?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think when you looked at what Delaney Walker brought, it was possession, just tight end, possession tight end. Jonnu takes the role, yes, but Jonnu is such a different player. Jonnu is an athletic freak. He's used in the run game. He's used in the pass game. He's everywhere. He's definitely a different animal, but I agree he's taken that role 100%.
Would you guys put Jonnu in the Noah Fant category?
Definitely.
I think Fant's above him, but I think he's
I think
solid.
they both. I think Jonnu's going to have some weeks where he misses, though. Cool. How about the Vikes?
Ooh,
They
let's
look,
just
they
not
look
talk about
bad.
that.
They look
There's,
bad.
there's
And they-
2 players you can start. It's Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook.
And I think something that's probably been a reason why they haven't been good is they're not feeding Dalvin Cook as much as they should be. It probably because their defense can't stop anyone and they're playing from behind. But Kirk Cousins is like only looking at Adam Thielen. There were several plays where he's just staring down Thielen, and there's a wide open tight end or wide receiver on the other side of the field. So I think they're relying too much on Adam Thielen. It's obviously for fantasy purposes, that's great if you have Adam Thielen, but the Vikings have just not been competitive.
Yeah, it's been a little disappointing. I think Justin Jefferson could be a second half of the season sleeper. I mean, I think the coaching is too good for that offense not to get a little bit of a jump start going forward. Okay.
A matchup that I think is going to have some intrigue this week, Panthers versus Chargers. We've already talked about the Chargers running backs against that paltry Panthers defense or run defense. Well, total defense. to be honest.
Poultry? That's a
I love that
very
word. I love
not
that.
so well
Poultry.
defense, quite poultry.
It
in
is not
fact.
poultry. It is paltry. And then the Panthers, obviously, we talked about CMC. I think Mike Davis, I think you can play him in any half PPR format. Throw him in at your flex. Maybe he's your second running back. I think
Chargers defense is really good.
But I think he's going to get the volume. The Bucs defense is really good against the run, and he had like 8 catches for 72 yards.
And he
Fair
played
point.
running quarter.
So, yeah, and he played
Getting
like one
into
quarter. So I think he's an intriguing play. And then on the Chargers side of the ball, I think people we haven't mentioned, I think Keenan Allen is going to get a boost with Justin Herbert playing as well.
Yeah.
And
I also like
Mike
Hunter
Williams.
Henry. I think the
Don't
one
play
guy
Mike
I'm still avoiding Mike Williams.
Mhm.
And then I'm worried about the Panthers offense going forward. I mean, give a little bump to, I think, Robbie Anderson. I think Curtis Samuel. People are talking about Curtis Samuel. I mean, I think he is, for a person with 30 or more carries, he right now leading the league in yards per carry at 8.6 yards per carry, which is just the weirdest stat. But, hey, that's the truth. I don't really think of – I mean, we'll see this week, the usage this week, but obviously Mike Davis is going to just get that volume. We had a Facebook question from Andrew. He said, any defenses y'all recommend picking up for this week if available on waivers? I don't know if Chargers are going to be available, but just a fun Noah tip right now. I think in 3 or 4 of my 6 leagues right now, I have Chargers and Rams as a duo. And I'm going to pull up their schedules because it's a really good idea, but I don't have the schedules in front of me. Anyways,
Not
any
the
last
Rams
thoughts on
this week.
Panthers Chargers? Not this week. Any last thoughts on Panthers Chargers?
Nope.
In terms of defenses,
All right.
if the Colts and Bucks are available, which they most likely aren't, pick them up. They're probably the top 2 defenses this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that too. And if Galladay doesn't play, I think Arizona is also a great streamer. Let's get on to Jets versus Colts. Talking about my new man, Jonathan Taylor. Not much to say. RB1, locked and loaded.
Definitely.
Someone, and this is why I go out and I find the best of the best fantasy analysts that I can find because, this is just quality content on our doc right here. All caps, no Jets. Who did that? You're getting who wrote that? Huron, you're getting a raise. I'll talk to HR. We're gonna get you fed. Here's an interesting thing. I think Hines should be rostered in all leagues. I think that he's going to have more usage, especially with Paris Campbell out. I don't think we're going to see that Joshua Kelly double, back roll, but I think he is someone you need to have on your team until we see otherwise.
I think you don't cut him. Keep him on your roster, but I'm not starting him this week. The Colts are going to be up on the Jets early, and I don't see the game script being in his favor. The Jets literally just suck. They're horrible. And the Colts are going to be up 21 points in the second quarter, and they're not going to be using Hines.
Yeah, look at the game script from week 1 where they're trailing the Jags and it's a close game and they're having to throw the ball 50 times. That's when Hines is going to bring value, not when they're destroying the Vikings. That's when you bring in Jonathan Taylor to run the clock out.
All right, I have the schedules up real quick for my Rams-Chargers defense combo mambo. Okay, this week, Chargers against Panthers. Next week, Rams against Giants. Week after, Rams against Washington. Week after, Rams against 49ers, maybe. But if not, we got Chargers versus Jets. Then we got Chargers versus Dolphins and Chargers versus Jags or Rams versus Dolphins. That's a combo
good.
mambo. So if you can go grab those two, that's matchups made in heaven.
Cool. I think that's nice if you want to be secured, but I don't like carrying two defenses personally.
I do like
moving on.
Defenses.
Yeah, fair. Moving on to what should be just an absolute offensive showcase.
I feel like we're getting one every week. We're getting one or two of these crazy Falcons Cowboys-based shootouts,
Yeah, the Cowboys and the Seahawks are going to be playing each other this week. It's going to be an amazing game. I'm looking forward to it just as a fan. But this Cowboys offense, I think you can basically fire up everybody on the offense. It's going to be a high-scoring game. The over-under is a 56-point over-under. Vegas expects this to be a shootout. Russ is cooking. Russ is in the kitchen chefing it up. He is throwing it to he is just absolutely on fire right now. So if
you're starting everyone on the Seahawks side,
do you start Dalton Schultz?
Well, I think the question is between those 3 second-tier, Gallup, Schultz, and CeeDee Lamb, who are you sitting, if any, or are you playing everybody?
I'm sitting Gallup still. Gallup has not proven that he's the guy right now.
I think you can play all of them.
I think I disagree because Gallup's the guy you don't wait for his week to play him. I think Gallup comes with the territory that you have to play him to get his good weeks. It's like Mecole Hardman almost, except Mecole's just not good in that you're going to wait for his week. He's going to have his week, and then it's not going to happen for another couple weeks.
It's not something you want to be playing every single week. Like we thought against the Falcons, he was going to go off, and he had 3 or 4 catches.
Yeah. I think he had the opportunity last week, and I don't think the Seahawks defense is going to just, give that much of a challenge for Dak to put to his best players, which are Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb right now. I just think we just pump the brakes until we see otherwise. All right, let's get to my boys, the Detroit Lions, who are so sadly covered up by a much more beautiful thing, the Belgian flag. Jared, what you got for Lions Cardinals this week?
Okay, well, first we have Christian Kirk out. Not that big of a deal. We have Galladay possibly coming back, probably going to play. So you're getting your number 2 or number 3 pick back. Obviously, that helps Matthew Stafford. Obviously, you're going to be playing Kenny Galladay if he's playing. Detroit's just not good against the run.
Or good at all.
They're not very good at all, but Kenyon Drake has been playing well. I know his fantasy production hasn't been there, but this is the week where Kenyon Drake is supposed to break out. I feel like he's going to break out. It's not – the thing is Chase Edmonds is getting 35-40% snap share, but the Cardinals run so many plays that Kenyon Drake is going to be valuable no matter what. So.
Yeah, good point. It's a good point.
I think that one thing about Galladay, though, is it boosts everyone on the Lions. It's going to boost Marvin Jones. We see Marvin Jones have way better games when he's on the field. It's going to boost Hawkinson, and it's going to boost the backfield. Hopefully, we can, in a few weeks, there'll be a clear back. Probably DeAndre Swift. We'll have to see. If Galladay is back, Stafford's a low-end, a high-end QB2 probably, but I'm still just going to wait there. Yeah, not much more to say there.
Yep.
The game
Go
that
Lions.
this game that could potentially be a major blowout, probably the biggest spread of the week. The Bucks play the B team Broncos. We're rolling out Jeff Driscoll. We've already talked about Sutton being hurt. Lindsey's most likely out. Jerry Jeudy's questionable as well. So we don't know what this Denver Broncos offense is going to look like, and their defense is decimated as well. So I love the Bucks receivers. Obviously, Mike Evans played well last week. Chris Godwin was out. Now Chris Godwin is back. I think both of them have good weeks. You know, a guy that was getting drafted in a wide range, probably the widest range of all, Rob Gronkowski, he just has not shown any life at all the first 2 weeks. I think you can comfortably drop him. He's nothing more than just a friend for Tom Brady. You know,
block. He's good block.
He'll block and just, you know, pat Brady on the back when he makes a good play. You know, I just don't think Gronkowski's involved enough for you to hold that roster spot.
Yeah, I just want to ask y'all, we finally saw Leonard Fournette out-touch Ronald Jones this past week. He had 12 carries. I feel like it's an RBBC, but I feel like Fournette is going to take over this backfield probably next week, if not the week after.
Yeah, so I think it's an RBBC until one of them fumbles. If Ronald Jones fumbles again, it's going to be Fournette's backfield.
I kind of am worried about this. I really like Ronald Jones until that switch happened. I think Fournette's the guy from here on out. I mean, they just have enough pass catchers. I mean, Brady never had a receiving core like this, you know? Yeah. And if there's, you know, they're going to just kind of be more traditional offense than we've seen in New England. Spread the field, run the ball with a big bell cow. I'm worried about Rojo. Hopefully the defense and Tom Brady just doesn't play as well, because I owned a few Rojo shares, and then when they're behind, I think he's going to be the guy to own. Let's move on to the Packers and the Saints. This should be honestly, it sounds like a good game, but I'm worried about the Saints right now without Michael Thomas. That's really the big news. Michael Thomas out turns into the New Orleans Kamaras. And I mean, Kamara could have been the number one overall, it looks like right now. And then Adams looks like he's going to be out. I mean, between MVS and Lazard, I'm the MVS guy, but we saw, we saw last week, we saw the kind of the tight end, the possession guy receiving those touches. I think Lazard is a better week this week, but MVS and Lazard are both great starts.
Definitely agree, especially in a more competitive match this week than versus the Lions last week. We'll see. Maybe the Saints are just terrible. Who knows?
And let me be clear. They're great starts if Adams is out, because until we see otherwise, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I
wouldn't want to be starting either of them, but again, I'd rather start Lazard.
Okay.
You know, I think if you have Adams and Lazard on your team, you're in a good situation where if Adams is out, you can just
guys, real quick. 10 went down to 9, but there was 10 viewers on Facebook. Incredible. And if you're on Facebook, we're going to get to your questions in one moment. We got one more game to go through, and that's the most exciting game of the week, Chiefs-Ravens. And again, my staff here, who wrote Game of the Year? who Kieran, double raise coming to you this week. Let's get a round of applause. Kieran, I'm going to let you take this one. I mean, soon you're going to be hosting the show. I mean, at this rate.
Yeah, you better watch your back. No, you do an amazing job. But actually, Chiefs-Ravens is going to be unbelievable. This is what you pay to see. It's just, without even talking about fantasy football, I'm just excited. But talking about fantasy football, Watkins is out. Chiefs, it's just, do you guys think it's going to be a really high-scoring game, or do you think it's going to kind of be a shootout? I think it's going to be a shootout, but both defenses are pretty good.
Well, let's see the over/under. I don't think it's going to be the shootout we're going to see with the Cowboys. It's a 54-point over/under. I'm going to take the under on that, actually. What are you guys going to take the over?
I'm going over.
Taking the over.
God, you guys are
just I hope we get a second coming of that Rams-Chiefs game from 2 years back.
Give me that. Give me
touchdown after touchdown.
100 points. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, defenses haven't looked Ravens have been good, but the Chiefs haven't looked that good. I'm a little worried about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We saw the flip side last week where it was much more passing and it was like 38 yards rushing versus the 120-some we saw in week 1. Is he still RB1? I mean, is there enough, room on this offense to feed him? Okay, just making sure.
I don't think this
okay,
is
let's
weak,
get in.
But yeah,
let's get into some Facebook questions. Let's see. From Andrew again, we got 3 quarterbacks on my roster. Which 2 do I keep going forward? This is a good one. Minshew, Stafford, or Goff?
Oh my goodness.
So who you dropping? Personally, I'm dropping Goff. He's probably the safest play here, but I'm going for upside. Minshew and Stafford, you're probably going to have a good week in there. Stafford with Galladay back is probably the best quarterback there. And I think Minshew this past week was kind of didn't have Chark. So I'm dropping Goff. How about you guys?
I agree.
I do agree as well. I think
Fantastic.
the Jags have a really good schedule going forward. The Lions have a couple of good games coming up. I'd keep those 2.
Here's a question from Sarah. Half PPR tight end, since Kittle and Sutton are out for this week, do you start Ertz, who is competing with Goddard, or Jonnu Smith, Jordan Reed, or Noah Fant? So that's a lot of tight ends.
That's a low
Ertz, Jonnu, Reed, or Fant? So first of all, you should probably trade one of these guys. I don't know. That's a lot of tight ends. That's 4 tight ends you can see there. I mean, we can just do this tournament style to make it a little more easy on the ears. So let's start with Ertz versus Jonnu.
Ertz is safer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jonnu against the Vikings this week. I mean, Ertz. I think Ertz is over.
I'm leaning Jonnu.
Philadelphia has no receivers this week.
I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't think Ertz is going to be a good start this week. All right, so
Mo Alley Cox just torched that Vikings defense. I like Jonnu.
That's true.
So Jonnu wins that side.
I'm going Ertz still.
Well, I think. What about Reed or Fant this week? Jordan Reed. Yeah. So between those 4, I think my number 1 is Jonnu Smith.
I think mine goes Ertz, Jonnu, Fant, Reed.
I'm going Ertz, Fant, Jonnu, Reed.
Jonnu, Fant, Reed, Ertz. Interesting.
Wow.
You really hate Ertz. I'm going Jonnu, Ertz, Reed, or Fant, Reed. So we got 2 Jonnu, 2 Zach Ertz.
Take the analyst you like the most.
Here's a question from Nick Day. Name sounds familiar. I don't know why. 2 questions. First, Jonnu Smith or Higbee, half PPR. Let's do a quick one there.
I'm in this exact same situation, and I'm going Jonnu.
Yeah, even though he did a great game last week. And then here's an interesting question that it's been tough for a lot of people. How do I go back in time to grab James Robinson? That's a tough one. You're going to want to start. You're going to go to Lowe's, Home Depot, and ask the guy, they are really good experts there. Just say, where can I find the time machine parts? And that's going to send you on your way.
I say watch this show and you won't miss the next one.
Ooh. Kieran, you really have to. And then we get another question, biggest breakout players of the week from Andrew, and that will come later in the Dudes of the Week segment. For now, let's get into waiver watch. Right now, I'm going to just real quick, I think Frank Gore is a guy that you should keep an eye on. He's going to get his 18 carries for 7 points every week. And I think if you're really desperate in a 14-man, go ahead and add him. That's a nice floor.
I'm really happy you just mentioned that because I'm going to pick another running back in that same team, LaMichael P. Ryan.
I would say, oh, God.
You probably do not know, but he is the young guy in his backfield. Yeah, obviously Frank Gore can handle 15 touches. What's he going to do, turn into 45 yards? I mean, I think they want to see what they have in LaMichael P. Ryan, and he might potentially get some more work. Maybe not this week, but maybe in the coming weeks with Le'Veon Bell hurt.
And I'm going to be the intelligent one here and say don't touch the Jets, don't touch their running backs.
Yeah, where'd you learn that lesson, buddy?
Yeah, exactly.
You learned that through experience?
I'm living in that muck. Okay, so for me, I think if MVS somehow out there, grab him. I do think Curtis Samuel might have a little bit of a breakout game here. I think he's going to be involved in the passing game, and there is a slight chance he becomes the running back. And that's just something that could happen, and it's worth a deep flyer.
I like that. Let's get into some trade targets. Jared, who you got?
Yeah, I got a guy that used to be picked really, really early, 4th, 5th round in some cases. And then when Adrian Peterson signed with the Lions,
Hell yeah.
his stock moved back to 7th, 8th round and even further in some cases. And now that we're actually seeing DeAndre Swift play, he looks like the best running back in that backfield. I feel like Adrian Peterson's he's gonna get 8 to 12 carries a game. But DeAndre Swift adds that passing capability besides that game-winning drop he had. But, I mean, he had 5 catches last week. He looks good. I think this is a guy you're going to want for down the line, not as much right now. But if you can get him for really cheap, DeAndre Swift's my guy.
My trade target right now, and it's a guy that I don't understand why everyone's been such a hater, is Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks every year takes a hop to a new team, has a great quarterback, and everyone's like, oh, he's a 5th round, he's a 4th, 5th round guy. Quarterback, he's going to have another 1,000 yards. But everyone, Fuller's been there, and he hasn't been able to produce. He's going to have a better season right now with the targets there. But Brandon Cooks has been my guy, is still my guy. I think he's totally a good trade target right now. It's Deshaun Watson after all. I mean, that offensive line is not looking good. But the game he had last week, I think it was 8 for 95. I think that's going to be pretty common coming up. Who else is he supposed to throw to? Those tight ends aren't great. David Johnson obviously taking some volume out of the backfield, but Brandon Cooks, I think, still very undervalued. Go grab him.
I don't mind it. I'm going a little more high profile. Someone that Jared mentioned earlier, I believe, Kenyon Drake. Chances are you picked him probably with your 2nd pick, and you could be a little restless now, given the fact that running back is so depleted. You may not be, but he's averaged 20 touches a game. I think he only has just 1 touchdown throughout the first 2 weeks, but he's played some tough run defenses in the 49ers week 1 and the Washington football team, correct myself, in week 2. The next few weeks he plays Detroit, Carolina, the Jets. I think you need to get him before this week. I think he breaks out this week. So I think this is a guy that can return top 10, maybe even top 5 running back value that you could get at a little bit of a discount.
Yeah,
awesome.
He's active. He's active on Twitter saying you better be buying.
Oh yeah, he said everyone who's complaining about me, just trade me away. Just do it. Let's get into the review of Dude and Dud of last week.
We had
Noah. This was tough.
We had a terrible week this week. Noah with Anthony Miller, 0 points. Paris Campbell injury early, doesn't really count still. I think 0.7 points. Scotty Miller, again, disappointment all over the place. Very bad.
You guys are giving me disappointment on Raheem Mostert. If you had a running back last week that had 8 for 92 and a touchdown, you were ecstatic. Like, that's just a fact. Like, the running backs go down like flies.
Kieran, this is a team here. Okay, just because you win, if the 3 of us lose, then you lose too, man. We're all in the same boat here, okay? Let's go to the dud of the week, which just might be a little better. You guys got all mad at me for putting Benny Snell as the dud, who was terrible. But, I mean, that was a good call.
It wasn't because it was because
no one's going to start him.
Yeah,
he had a fantastic week in week 1. I don't understand how that's not a
Connor was healthy.
dud.
No one was starting Snell.
Except for Michael.
I did start him in a league, but I don't think he was that high. But that doesn't mean it's qualified for a dud.
Yeah,
you should be a top running back like Kenyon Drake to pick for your dud, in my opinion.
He was like a bell cow in week 1, and I can't pick him as my – this is bullshit.
He was only a bell cow because of an injury. The injury is gone. Literally. Therefore, he is the backup.
Injuries don't disappear. What have you seen
Connor
in football last week?
He was. I was banking on James Conner just not being fully healthy.
All right. Well, Michael had Kenyon Drake. For where you draft Kenyon Drake, I'll count that as a dud. Was it like little 10 points or whatever? Jared, is that J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a dud.
No, we gave
you both shit. We gave you both shit. I just want to qualify mine a little bit.
J.K. Dobbins had 2 touchdowns last week.
Gilmore,
and he had 2 carries this week.
Gilmore gave up his first touchdown reception when he was guarding a player for the first time in like 3 years.
So you were wrong, is what you're saying.
Okay, if you watch that play, he should have swatted that ball away easily, and he would have been 3 for 40, and I would have been right.
I'm with you, Kieran. See, I appreciate you for going out on a limb. Jared, you picked a guy that had 7 touches in week 1.
Yeah, you guys are soft. You guys
Get outta here.
You're saying he had 7 touches? Micah had like 25.
Noah, how are you not comprehending
picked
this?
Raheem
This is horrible.
Mostert for his dude
Let's
of the
get
week.
on. All right.
Who wasn't
Let's
starting
get
with
on to this week. Hopefully our picks are better. Let's try to get through this pretty quick. My dude of the week, Jerick McKinnon. He's the RB1 right now in San Francisco. Coaching is too good there for Jerick McKinnon not to have a great week.
You know what? I was going to do Corey Davis, but because you mentioned Jerick McKinnon, I'm going to say Jeff Wilson Jr. because there's no way in hell the 49ers give Jerick McKinnon the ball more than 15 times. I mean, the dude is not durable. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is the first.
He had 3 carries for 80 yards. It doesn't matter.
I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is the first and second down guy and the goal line guy. I think he can sneak a touchdown. This isn't going to be a major stat line. He could have like 8 carries for 30 yards.
All right. Let's see, Michael. Time will tell.
I just wanted to go against you.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, well, I picked CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be a shootout. I think CeeDee Lamb could put up another 100-plus yard receiving performance like he did last week. It's going to happen again this week.
Jared, we got to talk. This is not a good dude of the week.
I'll let that one slide.
I think that's fine. Fine. I'm taking Joshua Kelly. We talked about him already. I think he's going to have a big week. 20 touches, 80 yards in a tub, probably is what we're looking at.
So, Andrew, there are your breakout players of the week. Let's get to dud of the week. Michael, who you got?
Stephon Diggs.
Whew.
Someone who I might be thinking about trading a little bit because his value is very high right now. But it's mainly just because he draws Jalen Ramsey.
Ooh. You like Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah. What are you?
100%.
You like Jalen? I mean, do you have like a jersey or something you could prove?
No,
that
not at all.
No, not at all. All right.
Not at all.
For those of you at home, he has every high end Jags
Former
player.
Allen Robinson, Leonard Fournette, and Jalen Ramsey.
Fantastic. Jared, who you got?
Okay, well, this may seem like obvious, but I'm going DJ.
We don't know who you're talking about.
DJ, David Johnson. You should not be starting David Johnson. You picked him in the 3rd round. He should not be in your lineup this week at all.
Wow, I agree with that one.
The Steelers have let up 1 rushing touchdown in the past 17 weeks.
Are you starting Mike Davis over David Johnson?
In PPR, yes, for sure. Even
what about non-PPR?
No.
All right, Kieran, who's your dud of the week here? I don't have time for Jared to sit there all day.
My dud of the week is
Texan.
Deshaun Watson. I think you could pick up 2 or 3 quarterbacks off your waiver wire who are going to do better than him this week. So I would stay away. Unless he runs for 2 touchdowns, I don't think there's value there.
All right, so here's what the Browns' backfield is going to look like for the rest of the year. There's going to be 2 types of games. There's going to be Chubb and Hunt games, and there's going to be Hunt games. And this game against Washington is going to be a Hunt game, which makes Nick Chubb my dud of the week. Washington allows 0.56 PPR points per opportunity per touch to running backs, which ranks as the 2nd lowest in football. So what does that mean? You're going to have to get Baker Mayfield throwing the ball. And what does that mean? It's Kareem Hunt time, and Nick Chubb won't see the end zone. He'll probably have 86 yards rushing. That's that sweet number for Nick Chubb.
86.
But he always just gets 86 on 19 carries. But Kareem Hunt's going to have to be making moves from the backfield for the Browns to pull this one out. That's a dud. 1st rounder. Come on, guys. Put your money where your mouth is. Real quick, our DraftKings right now. Noah, the 2-time defending champion of our inter-podcast league, is in last place. And tied for 2nd is Michael and Jared, and Kieran, our newbie, who is getting now a triple raise this week, apparently, is in 1st place. My DraftKings 13-game slate lineup: Kyler Murray, Joshua Kelly, Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Allen Robinson, Mo Alley Cox, John Brown, and the Chargers D.
Okay. I don't think you are the 2-time reigning champ, but
I am the 2-time reigning champ.
I'm going Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Jeff Wilson Jr. I actually put my money where my mouth is. You did not.
There we
By
go.
not picking Jerick McKinnon, Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Corey Davis, Hayden Hurst, Deontay Johnson, and the Bucs D is just automatic.
Well, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm starting CeeDee Lamb in mine. At quarterback, also where my money is to Russ. He's going to cook the Cowboys. They're going to blow out the Cowboys, I think. Joshua Kelly, Kenyon Drake as my running backs. Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson as my receivers. Jordan Reed as my tight end. And the Niners defense as my defense.
Once again, we have a lot of overlap. I'm going with Kyler as well at quarterback. My breakout player of the year, Jonathan Taylor, Kenyon Drake at the running back, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson at wide receiver, Dan Arnold at tight end. With no Christian Kirk, I'm hoping he falls into the end zone, 1 for 2 and a touchdown. Miles Sanders at my flex and the Texans defense.
All right. Hey, new rule for the Jammin' League, and I like, Michael, I like you putting your money where your mouth is. New rule, you got to start your dude of the week every week, okay? New rule from this week forward. All right. So with that, guys, thank you so much. Again, if you're tuning in and you're just hearing now on Facebook, this is Guys Being Dudes Fantasy Football. You can follow us on Twitter at Dudes Football. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple,
Everywhere.
and if you're following on YouTube, I apologize. This is going to get copyrighted. I'll put some fun songs in here, and it'll be silent to some random music. And
hit the subscribe button.
So hit that subscribe button and all those things. And much love to everybody.
Thank you, Belgium.
Good luck this weekend.
Shout out Belgium.
Shout out Belgium. Shout out Belgium. Chocolate, waffles.
Okay.
Peace.
Soccer.
I don't think they've been too much of a confrontational country in world wars, and that's what we want from our fans, right? All right, guys, please be quiet during the outro here, okay?